There's a terrifying question at the center of The Boys, and it's been there since the very beginning. Not can Homelander be stopped, but can he actually be killed? Because at this point, we're not just dealing with a rogue superhero, we're dealing with something far worse. A man who sees himself as a god. A man who no longer needs approval, but still craves control. A man who, if left unchecked, doesn't just win, he redefines the world in his image. And that's what makes Season 5 so dangerous. This is no longer Billy Butcher's revenge story. This is no longer about exposing Vought. This is now a global crisis where every single person, human or supe, is living under the shadow of one unstable, all-powerful being. And here's the truth the show keeps quietly reminding us of. Homelander is not invincible. He's just almost impossible to kill, but almost is all it takes. Because scattered across the board right now are a handful of characters, very specific, very dangerous individuals who each hold a piece of the puzzle. And if even one of them steps into the right moment, Homelander falls. So the real question is, who actually has what it takes to end him? Ryan Butcher, the one who breaks the cycle. If there is one character the story keeps circling back to, it's Ryan. And not just because he's Homelander's son, but because he represents something the show has never fully answered. Are supes born monsters, or are they made? Ryan is the test case. He has the same power, the same potential, the same darkness sitting right beneath the surface. But unlike Homelander, Ryan had a chance at something different: guidance, love, restraint, even if it was fractured. And we've already seen glimpses of what he can do. Back in earlier seasons, Ryan's heat vision didn't just hurt Stormfront, it obliterated her. That alone told us something wasn't normal here. His power wasn't just comparable to Homelander's, it might actually surpass it. Then came the moment that really mattered, when Ryan actually hurt his father. Not symbolically, not emotionally, physically. That changes everything. Because now we know this isn't a fantasy scenario. Ryan isn't just the future. He's already capable of damaging the one person no one else can touch. But here's the real question. Does Ryan want to kill Homelander? Because strength isn't the problem. Motivation is. If Ryan chooses to break away completely, if he decides that ending his father is the only way to stop the chaos, then thematically, narratively, and emotionally, he becomes the one person who should do it, not out of hate, but to end the cycle. Soldier Boy, the nuclear option. Now let's talk about the wild card. Because if Ryan represents hope, Soldier Boy represents consequences. On paper, Homelander is stronger, faster, more versatile. In a straight-up fight, Homelander likely wins. But Soldier Boy doesn't need to win a fight. He just needs one shot. His radioactive blast isn't just another power, it's a reset button. It strips supes of their abilities. It turns gods into humans. It erases the very thing that makes Homelander untouchable. And that's the key. Because once Homelander is human, he's not scary anymore. He's just a man with enemies. The problem is, Soldier Boy isn't exactly a hero. He doesn't care about saving the world. He doesn't care about morality. He barely even cares about his own son. So the real tension isn't, can Soldier Boy kill Homelander? Why would he? Right now, their relationship is unstable at best. There's history there. Resentment, ego, mistrust. And all it takes is one moment, one disagreement, for everything to collapse. If that happens, if Soldier Boy decides Homelander has crossed a line, that blast becomes inevitable. And when it hits, Homelander doesn't die immediately. He becomes killable. Frenchie, the mind behind the weapon. Here's where things get interesting, because not every solution comes from brute strength. Some come from intelligence. And Frenchie might be the most dangerous person in the entire story because of that. At the start of the season, the supe-killing virus was the only real weapon capable of ending Homelander. It was precise, lethal, final. And then it was destroyed. Or at least, that's what we're meant to believe. Now Frenchie is trying to recreate it. And that's where the stakes rise. Because this isn't just about rebuilding what was lost. It's about improving it, adapting it, making it work against something even more powerful. What happens if Homelander evolves? What happens if V1 changes everything? Frenchie's the one person who can answer that. He's unpredictable, emotional, brilliant in bursts. And when he locks in on a problem, he doesn't just solve it, he reinvents it. So the real question is, can Frenchie create something that bypasses all of Homelander's defenses? A virus that doesn't just weaken him, but ends him? Because if he can, then the fight isn't physical anymore. It's already over. Moreau, the hidden equal. Now this is where the conversation shifts, because Marie isn't just powerful. She's different. Her abilities don't rely on strength. They don't depend on durability. They don't care how tough you are. She controls blood, which means she doesn't have to break through Homelander's skin. She just has to reach what's already inside him. And that changes the entire game. Because every other character on this list has to find a way through Homelander. Marie doesn't. She bypasses the armor completely. She can slow blood flow, spike pressure, attack organs, shut the body down from within. And if her power scales the way we think it does, she doesn't just hurt Homelander. She ends him instantly. But here's the catch. Narratively, would the story really let her do it? She's not part of the core group. She's not deeply tied to the central conflict. And giving her the final blow might feel disconnected from everything the show has built. But from a pure power perspective, there may not be a more direct counter to Homelander in the entire universe, which raises a terrifying possibility. What if she's not there to finish him, but to prove that he's not untouchable? Sister Sage, the architect of the end. And finally, the most dangerous character of all. Not because of strength, not because of powers, but because she sees everything before it happens. Sister Sage doesn't need to fight Homelander. She just needs to outthink him. And so far, she has. Every move, every decision, every alliance. It all feels like it's part of something bigger, something we don't fully understand yet. She's already manipulating relationships, creating distance between key players, steering outcomes without ever stepping into the spotlight. And here's the scariest part. She doesn't want Homelander to win. Not completely. Because an immortal, unstoppable Homelander doesn't leave room for control. And Sage, she thrives on control. So what does that mean? It means she's not trying to overpower him. She's building a scenario where he loses. Maybe it's Soldier Boy. Maybe it's the virus. Maybe it's Ryan. It doesn't matter. Because if Sage is behind it, then Homelander's death isn't chaos. It's design. So who actually kills Homelander? That's the question everything is building toward. And the answer might not be as simple as one person. Because look at the pattern. Ryan has the emotional weight. Soldier Boy has the power reset. Frenchie has the weapon. Marie has the internal kill switch. Sister Sage has the plan. Individually, they're dangerous. But together, they're inevitable. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Homelander doesn't fall because one person defeats him. Maybe he falls because everyone plays their part. Because no single force in this world is strong enough to stop a god. But a combination of power, intelligence, emotion, and strategy, that's something even Homelander can't control. And when that moment comes, when everything finally lines up, the real question won't be, can Homelander be killed? It'll be, who pulls the trigger and who lives with what comes after?